Yes, I do. I
Yeah.
have not been able to wipe that smile off my face since Monday. So
Yeah, Monday was kind of stressful because we heard of all the threats, and people are attacking the prophets again, saying, "Well, the prophet said this, and nothing happened." Well, I love what Lance Wallnau said. He said that got us to the intercessors to pray to thwart these attempts, and I can tell you from prophetically what I hear a lot of different prophets, but more as the intel too. There was real intel that they were trying to destroy, and praise God, nothing happened, or things didn't happen what we saw.
And I don't know what other prophets were saying, but God has been warning for a long time and keep continuously praying for President Trump. He said they were going to try things, but they weren't going to be successful. So to me, that's a prophecy fulfilled and an answer to prayer, that no matter what they did, it didn't work. And I know they're using the weather, and I believe that God used the weather as well for that answer to prayer, that Trump moved inside. I don't know if he would have necessarily, even though the danger was on him, if he would have moved inside. But I believe he did because of the weather, and also because it was safer for him and everyone else involved. Because there were certain things that were going on. I just saw somebody who put out something where he was in this special vehicle that had we could jam the drones in the sky and sniff out other nuclear things or whatever. I don't know. It's like, I don't know the high tech, name for it all. Never seen him in one of these vehicles before. And he was in that vehicle on his way to get on Air Force One to fly into DC. You can see him when he was going the whole inauguration day. He was in that vehicle. And then, of course, then he was in the Beast after that. But there were things going on that they're obviously not going to tell you,
right?
So they don't freak people out. So if they were going after whatever prophets, again, God has been saying this for a long time. Don't go by how things appear to be. So I believe that there was a lot of threats that day, but God told me a long time ago, there was going to be threats. They were going to try to do things, but he's always said they were going to fail. And so that's why I was very, very excited about Inauguration Day. I did not expect, and I told people that weekend when I got off on Friday, I said, if anything were to happen, I'd get on. But I said, I am not expecting anything to happen before Monday. And even on Monday, we're going to celebrate. And that's exactly what we did. We got to seriously celebrate all day. And I just had this joy in my heart and a smile on my face. We were all sitting in front of our TV. The boys had some friends over for a short time, and we were just having an inauguration party day celebration.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that he was planning A, B, C, D, E, and all of the above. One of the prophetic words I got last minute from I'll just say it, Barry, got up, I'm told, to President Trump. So I don't know if that had anything to do with them making changes, but it was a smart move, whether it was intentional or based on the weather. However it played out, God was ultimately in control. Mm-hmm. He kept them off guard where he was going, how he was going to get there. I was given some intel today, and maybe I've heard this before, but I didn't remember. But that's another strategic reason why Greenland. There's something more in Greenland other than what we said, military base of Gitmo and strategic against China. There's a weather facility that's controlled by our government there in Greenland.
No way.
Yes, that's what I was told this morning. I don't know if I knew that or not, but I don't think so.
Wow. I did not know that, but I remember, and I've heard many prophecies about Greenland before it was a huge thing all over the news, but I never thought of it with a weather machine there. I really thought that there was military stuff there, and there was other things that were going on that, kind of like people know that there's stuff that's going on in Gitmo. And I got another picture that somebody shared with me about Guantanamo. There's definitely things going on. I think a lot of us need to be excited. There are certain things that God is still continuously warning us about. So we're not out of the woods yet. No. And I don't want people to think, again, I don't want to scare anybody. But people, God has been warning. This is not an election that was going to save us or an inauguration day. It's God and God alone. And our enemies, he's been repeatedly saying that they were not going to go down without a fight. They're going to go down, but they're not going to go down without a fight. So we still have to be very, very vigilant about praying and standing, because there are still, the deep state is there. The establishment is still functioning as we speak right now. Even though President Trump is there are still people in Washington that are part of the establishment. They're going to try to take out President Trump and his agenda. So we have to continue to stand and pray. We cannot back off in this fight. We got to keep pursuing our enemy until they're gone.
That's right. One of the things I was told is that this was obviously prior to Monday, that President Trump was going to hit quickly, hit hard, and keep right on hitting. And one of that reasons is, well, obviously, the United States of America needs it. He's done more in 2 days than Biden did his entire lifetime. And that's not a slap. That's a fact. I mean, there's so many things we could talk about what he's done so far. But the other main reason is to keep the deep state on their heels. If you keep on the offense, they don't have a time to plan and attack. If you're on the defense waiting for them to attack, it's not good. He's on the offense, and they feel it. There are lots of signals of the offense. Durham, I don't know if we'll get to that, but Durham is back in the news. He will be in the area of prosecution around P. Diddy. That's a big deal. That flying under the radar to most people. Catherine Herridge is at Gitmo as we speak. Why was she at Gitmo the day President Trump took office? That scratches your head. And he just did an executive order, I believe an executive order, for treason is the death penalty. I thought it already was, but it was reiterated.
That's the picture that I saw, was her at Guantanamo Bay. And I didn't know that it was called Camp Justice. So that was something that I thought was very interesting when I saw that picture when my team texted out to me. I was like, oh, that is really interesting. That is called Camp Justice. And that's the reason why I think a lot of people soon are going to be headed that direction if they're not already there.
And do you know what it was before it was Camp Justice?
I was told a YMCA. Now, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I was just like, are you serious?
That's what I was told, too. That's what I was told. Yeah. And that's the whole purpose of why, for all this period of time, President Trump has been doing YMCA. I haven't got that confirmed by a second source, but one source that's pretty I don't know if it's ever been wrong, said, yes, it used to be a YMCA. So it makes sense.
I just heard that this morning. Like, literally just heard that this morning. I was like, that's the reason why he's always singing the YMCA song. He's always doing that dance. I thought it was a song he liked. But everything he does is very intentional. So when they told me that this morning, I was like, well, that shouldn't really surprise me, because everything he says and does is so intentional. It's like he's dropping Easter eggs on us all the time. Like, go do your research, figure it out. I'm not just doing it to doing it. I'm doing it for a reason. So go and dig it out and find out what it is.
Yeah, it goes all the way back to on Friday when he got on Air Force One. You're not, a president's not supposed to be on Air Force One unless you're president. So he was on Air Force One. He flew to into Washington, D.C., but it stopped, and one of his key people, I'll just say, got off the plane and left, which is very peculiar. And then you see what happened on Monday. You know, there was some talk that they try to swear him in early because of threats. I don't know if it's, I'm not a constitutional scholar. I thought you had to be sworn in at January, on the 20th, exactly at 12. Some say he was sworn in. I'm not sure. And then you see what happened, that he didn't put his hand on the Bible. We put that out there and put, it wasn't that we were questioning Donald Trump's faith in the Lord. Not at all. He gives credit to where he's at today because God saved him. It is why. There's some speculation that it's because he was already sworn in, that he didn't do it twice. There was some speculation that John Roberts hurried it. But in defense of John Roberts, you have to do it on time, because you have that minute, literally a minute period where there's nobody in charge. So you can't wait for photographs and you can go back and do a redo, which happened with Obama twice. John Roberts had to swear Obama in again twice in private because they got it wrong the first time. So whatever reason it was, I don't know. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. He's back in office.
You know, I believe it was John Roberts that rushed that. I saw it. You know, we were all watching it. Melania wasn't even up yet, who had the Bibles in her hand. This is not Trump. He was not doing it intentionally at all. This was not against God whatsoever. I do not believe that. If he would have seen those Bibles, if it would have been there, he would have put his hand on the Bible, but she was standing behind him. So I don't even think, I mean, it was not like outside where they have all this room. They were like tightly squeezed, you know, and he had all of his kids that were standing there. But John Roberts was talking while he was walking up there. So it wasn't like he was just like waiting for Melania and waiting for Trump and waiting for his kids. It was like boom, 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 boom. And I just think that was something that happened. It was not intentional. I don't believe at all. But I do believe that he could have been sworn in sooner, but who knows? But even if he was, it doesn't really matter. No. Either way, he was sworn in. He was protected by Almighty God. God said he'd be protected. And I think that his speech was absolutely positively spot on. When he talked about the deep state, or he talked about the department or the establishment in Washington, and in other words, ripping them apart or destroying them. In my own terms, I'm putting that, but he was like putting them on notice. You're all here in this room. You have to sit here and you have to shut up and listen to me and make sure that you know that you're on notice and I'm coming after you.
Oh, and he's doing it. I mean, eliminating the DEI programs immediately, telling them they have, I think, to 5 o'clock today, and they're going to be laid off. North Carolina, FEMA couldn't handle helping our brothers and sisters in North Carolina. He went and took $2 billion, I'm told, that was supposed to go to illegal aliens, and he's redirecting it to North Carolina. So immediately he's making changes that is hitting quickly. And I don't remember off the top of my head what the organization is, but they're basically the deep state in the United States. They're the permanent deep state cabal that are in our three-letter organizations that really rule our government. He put an executive order to end that as well. So he's hitting it all. Yeah, that happened, I think, yesterday. Wow.
So this is what I just got. And remember, the Lord has given me a lot of prophecies about blackouts, and he kept using that word over and over and over again. This was just given to me like moments. I think I was actually sitting here waiting when you were making the announcements and stuff, and I just got this given to me. Trump orders blackout at CDC, FDA, NIH as health agencies prepare for a MAGA bloodbath.
Yep.
So I just got that. Donald Trump has ordered communication blackout at America's federal health agencies, according to reports. Now, God said, I don't know how many times in prophecy, he was cutting the lines of communication. So I believe this is another form of a blackout. And he's also said when he's cutting the form, their source of communication, he said was going to cause a confusion and a panic in the ranks. And that's what they're going to start making more desperate decisions. And it will go very badly for them the more they try to do these plans that they're going to try to go forward with.
Yeah, so that comes off the heels of the only thing that's really got people that supported President Trump upset, and I believe this is 5D chess as well. Look, you got to let it play out. Is the announcement with Larry Ellison and Stargate, and the SoftBank in Japan was $500 billion to AI and mRNA vaccines. This has the feeling of, to me, like Mr. Fauci, come to the front of the front podium so we can expose you to the world. It doesn't make any sense because he knows his base does not like vaccines whatsoever. And but if it weren't for that type of thing, Fauci wouldn't have been exposed. And the other thing that doesn't make any sense, he's got RFK Jr. coming in a key position. He wasn't up there because he knows RFK Jr. is against that. And Elon Musk wasn't a part of the AI either and used one of Elon's competitors. So to me, it's there's something deeper behind the curtain there.
There is always something deeper with him. And again, when we don't understand things, there is a plan and a purpose. We may not understand it right away, but we'll figure it out. And it's always going to be for our benefit. I truly believe, without a shadow of a doubt. And that's why I love the fact that he made this, he made a point to do this in the inauguration, where he said, God is the reason why I'm here. I wouldn't be here without him saving my life in Butler, Pennsylvania that day. And so I believe that his steps are ordered by the Lord. We keep praying that God gives him wisdom and knowledge, understanding. And all those people that are around him that should not be there cannot coerce him, sabotage him, or delay anything or deceive him in any way where he'll fall for it. So we really are praying for his discernment, that he listens to God and just, what God is saying for him to do, and not what the enemies are trying to do to sabotage him or to keep him busy, like busy work, and not doing the will of God.
That's right. What will happen if he doesn't do the will of God?
Well, kind of like Saul. Saul didn't do the will of God, and he got his crown removed, and he was no longer king. That's why it's very, very important that we pray that he continues to do the will of God, because, again, he sets up kings and he puts down kings. And even though, like Saul was put as a king, he did his own thing, and all of a sudden, when he didn't do the will of God, it was taken away from him. And then he was jealous of David, and he tried to go after him, try to kill him, and then eventually he had to kill himself. Saul did. So it doesn't go well for people that go against God. That's why we're going to continue to pray that not only him, but everyone that's in his camp is also, their steps are being directed and ordered by the Lord.
Yeah, so, President Trump's called his David. If you go back to the Bible and David, every time David listened to the Lord, it went well. Every time David did something of the flesh, there was a punishment. And I don't wish that on President Trump. The moral of the story is keep your heart to what God, wisdom and discernment for him, not man. And that's key.
Yeah, because there's people by him that are out for themselves, and they're going to do things that are going to benefit themselves. I said it the other day, and I was, I didn't really want to mention names. I'm the type of person that usually does not mention names, but the Lord did have me mention his name. I won't go into great detail of what he was showing me exactly, but I'm just praying about it. The team's praying about it as Elon. Now, Elon can easily change. He can change his course. He can change his direction. But right now, for what the Lord's showing me is he's not a person that is doing things for the right reason. He's doing things to better himself. And so he could easily betray people once he gets what he wants. So we're going to pray that God can change. He can use anybody, even though their heart's not right. God can use anyone for his plan. But I pray that his heart turns in the right direction, because he's a person that I can't trust right now.
Well, I gotta give you credit, because I think this is the first time you've ever said this publicly, so I didn't say anything because you've told me this in private for quite a while. You and Clay Clark have been on top of this from the get-go, and I agree with both of you. There's things that Elon Musk does that's good, but you also have to be weary of this technology and his background, and some of the garments he wears, and a girlfriend that he had a baby with is not good. We pray that his heart does change, but that's why we don't put our hope in a man. We put it in the Most High God.
Yeah. So whenever I see him, I won't get into full detail, because it's when you're discerning something, it's not easy, because whenever I see certain people, I can see that thing on them every single time. I see a deceiver. That's what I see. I see a snake. I see a deceiver. And so that's why I have to pray into it, because if God is showing you that, he's obviously giving people to say, hey, this can change, but you have to pray against what that deceiver or what that person and behind that person, because it's not a person, it's what's behind that person, is trying to do to use them against the will of God. Now, again, just like with, Putin. Putin's not the best person in the world, but God has used Putin to help with what's going on in not only this country, but what's happening in other countries around the world. He's against the swamp. He is against the establishment and all the globalists and all their cronies, because he doesn't want to join the one world government system. And so he's doing things he thinks to better himself in Russia, but he's actually doing the will and the plan of God. He just doesn't realize that. So again, we pray into it, that they are being used by God. They do fulfill what they need to, but they don't. If God can change their heart and make them, or have them become different, then that's great. And I'm going to pray that for Elon. I pray for his soul, and I pray that whatever is that God keeps showing me with him, that he will turn and be somebody different. But as of right now, that's what I keep seeing every single time I see him, is I see a deceiver, and I'm just praying into that.
Yeah, so we have to be careful. There's positive things that come out with technology, AI. That's another thing I give credit to Clay. I had Clay on a couple weeks ago, and I said, as a Christian businessman, how do you come up with AI in business? And he came out and just called it spade a spade. He says, I can't. That may cost me money. It will cost me money, but I can't do it. And this technology, we know, is not going away, because in the book of Revelation is what the Antichrist system uses. They'll spin it as it's good for today, but in the wrong hands, it's going to turn back. And some of that we can't stop, because we're not going to go back and change the Bible. At Revelation 22, it's coming. And we have to trust the Lord and bring in as many souls before that day happens.
And I think right now, with what Trump is doing, he's trying to turn where AI is controlled by good people. Because right now it has been out of control in the hands of the wrong people. So I think he's trying to put it in the hands of the right people to do the right thing with it. Because technology and inventions, you got to think of all these things that are really good for our country, the world. If it's in the wrong hands, it turns into something negative. But if it's in the right hands, it can turn into something good for us. And so I believe, just like with technology, if we have the internet is an amazing thing. It's an amazing tool by God. Obviously, we're on it right now, speaking the word of God and been encouraging people and leading them in the right direction. But you also have people who are using the internet for the wrong thing. So I believe that God has given us this technology so we can use to spread the gospel. But in the wrong hands, it was getting twisted. And so that's why we need to pray into this whole AI thing, because I think it could be a good thing to an extent. But I know, just like you said, the book of Revelation, it will definitely get in the wrong hands again.
Yep.
And when I see people like I said, I truly want to believe that Elon is doing things for the right reason. I truly do. I want to believe that he's a person because, he's supposed to be the wealthiest man in the world. I don't think he is. I think that's what people are shown. I think there's people that are richer than him, but at least families that are anyway. But he's the type of person that can use that for good. And that's where I want to pray that he does use that for good and not for his own thing. But it's hard. I was really rooting for him, and then, yeah.
That's right. Well, speaking of richest man in the world, Vladimir Putin is the richest man in the world, I'm told by two sources.
Really?
He's sitting on the most physical gold in the world. Because you can't, nobody knows how much gold you have if you hide it and you have places to keep it. And I'm told by two really good sources that he is by far, they say, the richest man in the world just because of his gold assets.
Wow. I never would have thought it was Tim. I would have thought somebody was from the secret societies, Bill Gates or George Soros or somebody from the Illuminati or somebody from the Bilderberg group, thing like that. Those secret societies that have a lot of wealth, the Masons, people like that. They do have a lot of wealth. From what I've heard, when I did studies a long time ago, and I've also followed up people a long time ago. I don't watch them anymore, but somebody said it was, 306 people have $2 quadrillion. So there's $400 quadrillion in the world, and 300 and some people have half of it.
Yep.
So you got to think about that for a minute, about how God's been saying that the economy has been a monopoly game for all these people who have been hoarding it up. But one of the things that it says in Haggai chapter 2 is it says that the gold is mine, the silver is mine. And he says that right after he talks about the shaking of all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come in. So I believe there's going to be massive shaking. I don't believe that we've seen the last of the people who are trying to stop this country from moving forward. I believe China is going to do something against our country. It's been too many prophecies that I've heard about China being used by the deep state. They're going to, basically what I've heard from prophecy, the establishment's using China and China is using the establishment to get what they want, which is the destruction of the United States, or, China wants it because they want to take us over. But I don't think that we're out of the woods yet.
Not at all. You got two things that are on the horizon that are not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen, and not being a doomsayer. It's just going to happen. We got to pray it through. There's going to be more viruses. That's a given, and the economy is coming down. How long? That's the key. I don't think it's going to be very long, but the old system is going to be it's going to collapse. So we have to be prepared for both those.
You just said something that God just prophesied. It's not if, it's when.
Yep.
And I have to find it because I have a lot of them. You know me when I'm on here with you. I have too many of them pulled up. But I think it was from this morning's. That it was actually, I gave it out this morning, but it was from the other day, from the 12th. And I just had to, I'm trying to find my screen. It's hiding from me here somewhere. I thought it was from let me get it out here, because he said specifically, it is not if, it's when. I will find it, I promise.
Okay. Yeah, so
I
remember,
had all these things organized.
they did it to him once, and they're going to try to do it again. And he's learning from that, though. He learned a lot of lessons. Well, first lesson you got to learn is let God guide you, because God will guide it out of there. But yeah, he's learned he's going to be a different president this time. He sees where it's hit him before, and some of these blackouts are going to be anticipation of these viruses, the economy. He knows it's going down. I'll just say I know somebody that knows him really well that's helping him on the crypto. I think I mentioned this last week. And he basically said that President Trump knows that there's going to be a dip, but he's got a plan to get it back up. And so does God.
Yep. And the Lord's been saying that for a long time, that he was going to bring down that system.
Yep.
The only way we can fully get rid, that's why he was giving that. And I found that prophecy I was looking for, by the way. But he has been warning his people. It's not an election that's going to save you. It's not the inauguration day. It's him. And he's saying that is because we have to fully rid ourselves of these people, out of our government, out of the economy, out of every area. And that excludes medically as well. So you got to think of everywhere that they're at. They're in everything you can think of. and everything he said is going to be shaken. And so thank God that President Trump is our leader of this country right now. Because if it was Joe Biden, we'd been up a creek without a paddle. But this is what the Lord was saying. This morning I gave out, it was from the 12th, it was from this morning that I gave out this prophecy. For I, the Lord, this day am telling you, my children, a red wave of destruction is coming for your enemies. Their machine, their army, their governments, their system, and will stop the death and the destruction they are planning on moving forward with. An attack on this country, it's not if, it's when. As I've repeatedly warned you of, but their death shot on this nation will fail, just as their attempts on President Trump's life failed. They will shoot their best shot. They will miss their intended target. Stay awake as it shakes your nation. It will seem worse. It will seem like the possible end of you, when it is the end of your enemy's darkness that has controlled you for too long. So this is just part of it. Then he says, your enemy's intended targets are major cities and large outdoor and indoor events. Anything they can use to cause great fear and great destruction. Another false flag event will occur. It will look one way when it's another. Great diversion and destruction when they attack another part of your infrastructure. So that's just part of it. Before I go on, I just want to let you know that this was what the Lord was saying. It's not if an attack is going to happen on this country, it is actually when.
Yeah, that's confirmed by Intel, too. 50 cities, I believe, as of right now, are planning Antifa BLM type protests. Actually, 5 cities in Ohio. I think I read that on the War Report yesterday. We know outdoor, indoor facilities. They tried with New Orleans. That was meant to be at a football game. We mentioned, I think last week, that a Ravens game, a drone came above. So they're actively doing that. And Tom Homan is hitting the ground quickly. There was something between 300 to 500 arrests yesterday alone, and they're getting into these 50 cities. I was coming back from a basketball game for my son last night, and we saw this car parked over on the side. And we have cartel around here, but we're not on the border. And there was 2 state troopers and a border patrol that had them pinned up. And you don't see that every day in Mount Pleasant, Texas. So Border Patrol all the way out here, they are moving at rapid speed. And part of that rapid speed is to get these terrorists moving petrified so that it disrupts their planning.
Yep, because God's been saying they wanted to, and this is not also another part of this prophecy. They are panicked. So they were saying, hurry up, let's go. So I'll read the rest of this part. He says, I have also warned you, I will say again, your enemies are planning to activate their Trojan horse they've had in this nation. It's almost that time where they will unleash multiple things at one time. Prepare your homes, prepare your hearts for their end game, where you will see them crushed by my hand, says Lord of Hosts. So he's talking about a Trojan horse. This is not the first time he's talked about it. But this is the second, third, or fourth time. I don't know. And so he talked about how they're about to activate that Trojan horse. That means that Trojan horse is already here. Mm-hmm. He's already talked about several times that they have a military, a foreign militia that is here, or sleeper cells that are here, that they're trying to wake up. That's another part of this prophecy. But then he goes on and he talks about the UN and how they have a part in this. A great UN cover-up and major plan will be stopped and exposed. The UN is involved in the end game and the utter collapse of this nation. You will see them make their moves, and you will also see them be annihilated before your eyes. These giants will be moved and evicted from your nation, O United States. I will judge the Secretary General of the UN now and everyone before him that the establishment put in place. I will destroy this arm of the establishment, an arm of the one world government. The development and design or purpose of the UN has been buried and hidden from the world. But I will show the world why they have existed. Judgment will hit those who are a part of it and who are controlling all of it. Their days are numbered, says the Lord. So they are part of this endgame, the UN.
When did you get that prophetic? That was this morning?
No, I got it on the 12th, but I gave it out this morning.
Okay. So the United Nations is one of our 17 scandals the Lord gave me back 2017. But this weekend, a Israeli general told me this in a communication. I'll just say communication. And it became public today that hostages that were held in Gaza were hidden in United Nations facilities, meaning our taxpayer dollars were housing hostages from Israel, and I think a hostage from the United States as well. You don't see any fake news picking that up right now. Yes, that hostages were stored in United Nations facilities, buildings in Palestine.
Wow, and it's funny how he puts the development, design, and purpose of the UN has been buried and hidden. And yeah, I gave that out this morning, about 6:30 this morning. That was given out. Again, I heard it, back on the 12th, but he's given me a lot of prophecies on the UN and exposure of the UN. He just worded it differently in greater detail. But he's been talking about the dismantling of the United Nations. And he says, again, they're not here to help our country, obviously. They're helped to destroy our country. They were here for what he said in this prophetic word. They were here for the end game, which is the end of the United States as we know it, and for the great reset to come into fruition. And it was supposed to be right now where we're talking right now. The global government should have already been taken over.
So again, there's two bills sitting in Congress that we're waiting for President Trump to come back. One is to fund the United Nations. Oh, he wouldn't do that. Well, he just defunded the WHO. They're defunded. The World Economic Forum had half the participants in yesterday's summit. And the second bill is to take the United Nations completely out of New York and out of the United States. And again, that was my mentor, Chuck Missler, said that he believes it will go into Babylon. There's a building there that could house it. So watch those two bills and watch him saying no more to the United Nations very soon.
Wow. God even said he was evicting them out of our country.
Yep.
He said a lot. He said, because he talked about the giants, and they were the giants, and he said, I'm evicting the giants out of your nation.
Gonna happen.
They're part of that group.
Again, for the naysayers, he wouldn't do that. Well, we're out of the WHO. We're out of the Paris climate change that quick. I think United Nations is one of the next ones. And the IRS. Hang on. About the drones. Tell the American people. We got to tell the American people what these drones are all about. And then he kind of gave that little Trump look and said, yeah, why were they over Bedminster, New Jersey, his golf course? And it ties into the intel I heard that one of the plans was to hit 20-some locations, all Trump facilities at the same time.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. I'm wondering if it was China, because I don't know. I believe that China was obviously hitting this country. They were using, because God even said they were using technology, and they were using intel that they were receiving from the Biden administration. They were receiving from the swamp to hurt us even more and to bring us down. They know where we're weak. They know that. Yep. And of course, President Trump is the biggest threat to them. God said they were going to come down like Pharaoh, but with Pharaoh, Pharaoh didn't come down, and Egypt, the empire, did not come down until after they pursued God's people. So I think, again, we're going to be, he called it in for a wild ride. Another thing he gave me, I think it was this morning before I got on, payback is coming. That's what God said. Literally, I'm going to pray into it. I know he'll give me probably a prophetic word regarding it. Whenever he gives me these little tidbits and these words like this and phrases, I know there's something more to that. But he gave it to me right before I got on live this morning, so I couldn't really dig into it. But I was like, Lord, I really wanted to pray into that longer. But yeah, he said payback is coming. So there's a lot that's going to happen. There's a lot of shaking, but it's going to be a lot of good. And it looks like it's going to be a lot of bad, but it'll be better.
Part of that is Crossfire Hurricane has not gone away. They're going to be prosecuted for what they did against President Trump, General Flynn, the whole 9 yards. President Trump's already taken the 51 so-called national security experts that lied about Hunter Biden's laptop, took their security clearances away, took John Bolton's security clearance away, took General Hayden's security clearance away. And I heard this morning again, with the magnificent release of the January 6th pardon people, that there is evidence, physical evidence as a whistleblower coming forward that Nancy Pelosi was behind January 6th.
I just love God. He said she was going to go down. I mean, there's so many things. He said January 6th lie was going to come down. And you know January 6th lie is going to come down. You know the 2020 lie is going to come down because God has also been saying that. And you know the 2020 lie goes down. So does, or the 2020 lie, the January 6th, and all those pardons are going to go away. All those things, and I have another prophecy that goes along with what Biden just did with those pardons, how it is going to be them putting them in a spiral of defeat. It is going to be their downfall. Those pardons are going to be their downfall. So I'll get to that one in a little bit, but I am so excited because another prophecy, and it's part of this one that I'm going to give to you, he's saying Nancy Pelosi, the fall is coming. And so when you said that, I'm just like, that's why I love to be on here. I get so excited. I'm like, what else are you going to confirm in one prophecy? And I haven't even got to the other 5 or 6 that I have up here. And just this one we were just talking about and how many are just being fulfilled in this one prophecy right now.
Well, I wish I could say I'm smart enough to figure that stuff out. I have no idea what you're going to say. And the Lord, the Holy Spirit just pushes whatever information I have in the mind, top center at the right time that matches your prophetic word.
I have to put up just at that moment. Usually I have them right up. If I don't pile them up where I'm, missing one, because this one was hiding behind the other one. But there's so many things. And that's what I think. One of the things that the guy was talking about too, is you said that President Trump was piling everything on our enemies. What they're going to try to do is they're going to try to pile a whole bunch of stuff against him to keep him busy and distracted. So then they can come in and do what they need to do. So that's why we had to pray for his discernment. And as we were also talking backstage too, praying for the right people. Yeah. The right people to be next to him spiritually and politically, but also that he does it in the timing of God. God did say he was going to shoot this, or, he's going to throw the stone that he has, President Trump is, but it has to be at the right time. It has to be the right time and the right stone to do more damage. So interesting times we're living in, very exciting times, but again, there is going to be shakings that come along with it. But I cannot wait. God said in a prophetic word, I don't remember which one it is right now, it's in one of these I have up, that arrests are coming and we will see people coming out of our Capitol in handcuffs.
People say, well, we've been talking about that forever. That'll never happen. Well, why is Catherine Herridge at Gitmo of all days? Mm-hmm. You combine that with Biden pardoning his entire family, yep. Dr. Fauci, and he went on Dr. Fauci's pardon all the way back to 2014, the same time as Hunter. Why? Ukraine and the biolabs. It all goes back to Ukraine. All of it. January 6th. General Milley. The January 6th committee were pardoned for a crime that nobody's even know that they committed yet. They haven't been charged with anything. Now, I don't even think they've been accused. But that's all coming up.
They haven't been accused yet. And I got to find that one where he was just talking about that, where he was just talking about his pardons. Because, and I'll get back to this one that we're talking, that I was the 12th one, but I want to get that one up about the pardons since we're talking about it right now. But he said, watch how the pardons, this is the second or third time he said it, just a different way. Watch how the pardons that were just passed by Biden will be the downfall of many in your old guard. The cover-ups, scandals that have plagued and decimated the law and justice in this nation for a short time will come crashing down. I told you, the Biden's undoing will be the establishment's as well. They made a big mistake by picking him. I will show you the architect of these pardons and who really signed them. So obviously it was not Biden that came up with these pardons, but he went farther into saying the architect of them, but who really signed them? God is not done unmasking the Biden. Whether it was him who actually signed it, or if it was him, was somebody else that, is beside him. But people are wondering, because God said he's going to unmask the Biden and who he truly is. He's not done with that yet. So we know he's not Joe because he looks totally different. But that's going to come out. It just hasn't yet, but it will be in the perfect timing of God. It'll be better than we thought.
Well, the perfect timing is starting to happen. I mean, House Speaker Johnson, just this, 4 days ago, maybe it was this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
He came and said, he told a story about how he met with Biden and he was upset with the executive order that he played. And he goes, I didn't do that. He goes, I'll show you the executive order. He said, I didn't sign that.
Yep.
Wow. Was
Exactly.
Speaker Johnson telling us something more to dig? I think so.
And people are frustrated with, Speaker Johnson, like, why didn't you say anything before? But again, he could have said something like this and nobody would have heard him.
Yeah.
It would have fallen on deaf ears and people would have blown it off. And the whole entire, swamp they have in the news would have just spun it in the wrong direction and it never would have gotten anywhere where it should have gone. So sometimes these little stones or pebbles that are thrown have to be thrown at the right time to bring the most destruction. And so I don't know if he was doing it for the right reason or the wrong reason. I believe in my heart that he's doing it for the right reason. But sometimes you have to keep things for the right timing. But there is somebody, so this prophecy goes on. A member of the old guard is about to squeal like a pig to save themselves. They're about to fully give up to Biden to save the establishment from a possible resurrection of it after they rid themselves of my David. They try to rid themselves of my David. But this person moves and their motives will also be exposed and none will be saved that did not have a pure heart, says the Lord. So somebody from the old guard, or which is the establishment, these people that have been in there for years and years and years and years and years, is going to squeal on President or on the resident Biden, former resident Biden, and they're going to give him up. They're going to fully give him up. He's not going to just get a hall pass and just go, okay, you're safe now that you're not the president anymore, or the fake president anymore. They're going to let him go to try to save the establishment from further destruction and mayhem. It's not going to work because as they give him up, more people will be implemented. It'll just be like the whole house of cards. It'll just be like a domino effect happening. But Biden will be their undoing.
Can you imagine the Obamas and all these people behind the scenes that have planted all these things against President Trump, meeting after every sinister thing they've planned to put him in jail, to do this, to take his money away, to kill him? He shouldn't have survived. They have to be thinking, man, that guy's protected. We're in trouble.
Yep. Just think about that. When he said in the inauguration right in front of Hillary, or people call her Killary, and Bill, and in front of Biden and Kamala and everybody else from the swamp that was there that day. Bush, yep. He said, I'm only here because of God. Mm-hmm. And they've not believed that before. They believed that statement then.
Oh, yeah.
Because every single thing they've thrown at him did not work. And they're probably scratching their heads. How are we here? How did we lose? How was he president? How did he just survived everything that we did to him? It would have broke anybody a long time ago. After they tried to impeach him, you got to think. They could have impeached him. They tried twice and it failed. I mean, the House did, but the Senate didn't pass it. So it really wasn't, legal. So he was able to run again. But they started way back when he first started running in 2015, to start to smear the smear campaign, the Russian dossier, the hoax, all that kind of stuff. You said about what happened with, General Flynn and all that. They done everything that usually works and it didn't. And they don't know how. And if they don't know it's God, they should know by now. And it's putting fear in them, because what else can they try? Will it actually work?
Well, there's also reports that Jack Smith, who went after President Trump, the Venmans, the wife of one of the Venmans. Remember, the Venmans were that were behind the Ukraine impeachment, traitors, absolutely treasonous traitors. Jack Smith. They are in deep, deep, deep trouble. They tried to get a pardon from Joe Biden as much as they possibly could, and Joe Biden denied both of them, all three of them, actually. So hang on.
And it was interesting that he did not pardon himself. So if he was doing these pardons, he would have pardoned himself.
Yeah.
The reason is because he wasn't doing these pardons on his own. He probably didn't sign them from what the sound with prophetic word said, and they didn't want him pardoned, because they want him to fall for everybody else. He's the fall guy.
Well, and there's evidence of this too. And remember, President Trump kept saying 25th Amendment, 25th Amendment. It had nothing to do with him. You go back, and I'd have to have a constitutional scholar come on and talk about this, but go back to the prosecutor Herb, who was going after the classified information on Biden. They had enough evidence to prosecute him, but they said he had late dementia and he didn't know what was going on, so they didn't prosecute him. That's a violation of the 25th Amendment. Your mind is not ready to run the government. Who is signing these things? Who was telling people what to go? Wow, it's going to go back. Everything's coming out.
It's really exciting because in this prophecy, he talks about Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem, because they're all still in the government right now. It looks like they're still there. He says the complete fall of the establishment is near. And it will be clear, O United States, I'm cleaning out the criminals everywhere that controlled you, and this nation will once again be united the way it was always intended. And I will put my people where they belong. So hold on, as a cleansing has already begun. He is not done with cleansing. There are people that are still there that are right now behind the scenes next to President Trump, anywhere they can possibly get their hand. You think about who was in that room in the inauguration. Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos. These people are not for him. And he also, the owner of the TikTok, they weren't there because they wanted to be there. They were there because it's benefiting them at this particular time.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for the swamp falling and they're seeing the defeat of it, they're going to choose a side that's going to win.
That's right.
And that's what they did. But doesn't mean that Trump's not going to play a chess card or chess play and move something or play a Trump card and do something to expose, because God said he was going to hit Silicon Valley. And those two 100% are part of Silicon Valley. And I do not believe that they're going to just skirt by with nothing happening to them. I do believe from prophecy, they will be judged because their heart's not right and they're only doing it to save themselves. And God said there is no safe place for them to hide.
Nope. And CEO of Google was there as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you had all the big tech titans there. And then you had Larry Ellison, former creator of Oracle, come out with an AI type thing. So it's just, I think he's bringing them up to show the world who they really are. And you can see them trying to play games and get back in his good graces, and not going to happen.
You know what's funny? This time between his last inauguration, it was a hot mess because you had all those, people outside. So I think God did a lot of things. He said he was going to clear out the streets because they were trying to cause mayhem and chaos and, all these protests. There was a stupid little protest. It didn't last very long, and there wasn't that many people compared to what happened the first time. But you think about all the people that are now rooting for him or looking like they're on his side, when before in the last election, they were 100% against him. Mark Zuckerberg gave what they call Zuckerbucks. He gave over $400 million in 2020 to stop President Trump. And the people who owned Twitter at the time, they obviously were being used by Biden and everybody else. Google has done everything they possibly can to hide truth. It's disgusting. But all of a sudden, these people are now trying to kiss his backside. Why? Because they know he's going to take anybody out who's against him. And they know he's got a power to do it, because if he didn't have the power to do it, then they wouldn't be afraid of him. And they're afraid of him.
They should be. They should be, because it's boomerang back. They're in a hot mess, is for sure. I mean, you look at the Googles, the face mask, Facebook, Meta, Twitter, the old Twitter. They all banned the sitting president of the United States of America.
I know.
That's insanity.
And I told the Lord, I said, okay, you're going to restore, because Trump signed an executive order that social media can't silence people. I'm like, okay, Lord, I want my voice to be put back, and everybody else who was taken off YouTube and who was taken off all these different platforms because the deep state didn't like what we were saying, that we're all going to be restored back to where we're supposed to be.
Yep.
So, because every available voice we should be able to use, and that even though it's YouTube, but YouTube is one of the biggest platforms there is. And I do believe that YouTube isn't going to crumble and you're not going to have YouTube anymore. But I believe God will put people in there that are children of the Most High God that will run some of these big social media giants, social media platforms, instead of these giants that have been trying to rule and reign and control us with it.
Yeah, and he's keeping his promise about the IRS as well. He's talking about the External Revenue Service tariffs. He said February 1st, Mexico, Canada will have a 25% tariff. There was I don't know if this was he's just floating this today. I didn't get a chance to double check, but he said mentioned eliminating income tax altogether. So he's making moves on that, eliminating it. And I saw somebody sent me a bill of some bills that are pending, and I think this is public. I don't remember where it is. Wherever the House puts pending bills, there was 4 bills around taxes that were very fascinating. How to reduce your taxes? They're sitting there. So looks like he's going to go in piecemeal, start bringing it down as he brings in the tariffs to overcompensate or to fill the coffers with that.
Well,
interesting.
God said he was going to dismantle the IRS, the Federal Reserve, and because you got to think, I tell people all the time, God keeps going toward our taxes. He keeps prophesying about our taxes. That was a form of enslavement.
Yep.
That was not to benefit our country whatsoever. Just like President Trump said, we don't need it hurting the backs of Americans and putting them with a burden to pay all this stuff. We can have the nations pay their fair share. You have the liberals always saying the rich got to pay their fair share. The rich got to pay their fair share. They are, but it's not benefiting people. It needs to be the other countries, because all we're doing is, yes, we're supposed to be there to be that light and beacon to the rest of the nations, but we shouldn't be taken advantage of. And that's why I love the fact that he got us out of the WHO. He got us out of that Paris climate change thing or whatever, Paris Climate Accord or whatever that was.
Yep.
And I was just freaking out. So I'm like, Lord, not only is he going to get us out of these things, he is going to dismantle these things. He talked about the World Health Organization. He's also talked about you said the World Economic Forum. You said barely anybody showed up there, which I think is fascinating. Why aren't they showing up there? Because they know they're in trouble. God says, follow the money. And it's going to lead right back to a lot of them. There's so much that we can break down from all this, but God's been talking about our taxes have been used against us and how this is part of the corporation of this country, not the republic that it was meant to be. And he's going to restore what should have been. Now, we had like a 14% flat tax, I think, a long time ago when we were first a country, after the no taxation without representation. That was part of it too. So there's a lot of things, but our tax system has not been always been like this. People think it's always been like this. No, it's not.
No.
It was created this bad because of the swamp, because they wanted an unlimited spending ceiling. They didn't want to have a ceiling. They want to be able to do whatever they want, whenever they want, but they also want to take you down with them. Pharaoh enslaved God's people with taxation, and that's exactly what these people were doing, and that's why he calls them pharaohs of today.
And well, then they created a whole second set of black books to do that. He also mentioned yesterday, I believe, Federal Reserve will be audited, and he put in a 90-day foreign money pause. That means no money goes to any country for 90 days till they can figure out who should get what, if any. That's huge.
He did that yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah. I think it was yesterday, or maybe it was in the 100 and some executive orders, but either or, those two things have come out.
That is amazing, because so many of these things are prophecy and prophetic. It's so, I think we're going to really start seeing prophecy coming to pass at lightning speeds.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
We're at a very good moment in time. And I'm also, before I forget, I want to ask you about Havana syndrome. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes. Yeah. With the ears?
Yes. I just found out about that this morning, and I thought that was very interesting, because apparently something the CIA has been doing. And God has been mentioning Havana. This name will be in your news for a significant reason. I don't even know how many prophecies we have right now on the website regarding Havana. And they just brought that up to me. So I didn't know for sure what you knew about it or how much you knew about it. But I don't think that's a coincidence that he is exposing all of these programs that were used against us to either cause destruction or to cause programming, to changing people's thoughts and minds and what they do and whatever. So I thought that was weird. That I've never heard of this before, and it's been in prophecy for many years about Havana.
I think one of the times that became most public was in Havana, Cuba. I don't remember how many years ago that was. CIA had that, but there's frequencies behind that. It can be programmed to mind control. It can be programmed as a weapon to hurt your ears and your brain. Also sickness. I was told that they believe that this was not the CIA doing it, but China.
Oh. Okay. That doesn't surprise me if it's China, and China's up to all that stuff. Again, China, there was another prophecy. I don't know I think it was maybe in yesterday's that the Lord said a silent, hold on, I got to find that one. He mentioned China, but also said about a silent killer. Let me read this. For I am telling you, my United States, this is from the 21st. So this is from yesterday. I actually heard it yesterday morning, and I gave it out yesterday morning. For I, the Lord, am telling my United States, your enemies soon won't know what hit them. They have built all their safety nets in the system that protects their criminal acts. They have destroyed and buried evidence. They have people on the inside of the Trump administration. The establishment is lurking in the shadows of D.C. and the heads of state and the intelligence community. They have built up barriers and walls of protection to further their agenda and their existence in control of your nation. But something unprecedented is coming that was about to hit them. A stone will be thrown like no other. It will hit them. It will decimate every system and all their infiltrators your enemies thought they once had and that could not fall. Something they are too blind to see right now. But as they take their next steps against this nation, these steps they soon will regret. Are going to regret. They should have stayed in their shadows and have been behind and left well enough alone. But they hardened their hearts as Pharaoh of old did to hold on to the power they wanted to take back this nation and put in their greater bondage they once had you in. I'm trying to find where that part is. Oh, yeah, I think it's in this one. As they move forward, I will show this nation the destruction of your enemies no man could accomplish on their own. So this is what he's showing us, that it couldn't be us that's going to save our country. It has to be God's intervention. He says, divine intervention and protection. As you saw me protect President Trump from those bullets, you will see how I'll protect this nation from the silent killer that was lurking, that they were just about to release and shoot their best shot. And the only thing they had left to use was this arsenal they could possibly take out of this nation. So whatever they had in their arsenal, the silent killer, which it could be a virus. I don't know. But he said it was they were going to do something, a silent killer that was lurking, that they were just about to release and shoot their best shot. So they can release a virus. So that's what he could be talking about. But I wanted to say it to you because you were talking about programming. We're talking about the Havana thing. But there's so many things they're using. It's not just one. It's not just one weapon. They're using multiple simultaneously to do so much destruction. And again, you have the financial aspect of it. You have medically. You have people with every single thing economically. You have all these different ways they're trying to destroy our country. There's so many different weapons, and God is saying they're going to try to move forward with this, but we're going to see it was divine intervention that was going to save us, just like it was divine intervention that saved President Trump and our election from being stolen from them.
Wow. This ties into, I believe, one of the whistleblowers I know. He actually texted me and emailed me this morning. He's ready to go public. He's been holding this back for a long time. I've had his documents, so if anything happens to him, there's several people that have these documents. But it ties into what you're talking about. I believe it can be one of three, if not all three. One is the frequencies of 5G. They can turn those on. That would be a silent destruction. You have at least 6 missing suitcase type dirty bombs in the United States. 2 of them are from Iran. That's why one of the reasons why they were looking on the East Coast for these nuclear radiation. And the one that I'm most concerned about that has to tie to all of them you should be concerned about is back to Ukraine and those biolabs. Yep. I was told that they tried to do botulism toxin first, and they have a way to put botulism toxin into the air. I died 3 times with botulism toxin. That was in food. If they can get it in the air, which I'm told they are, it's out go the lights. It's over. There's just not enough hospitals, enough respirators to do that. It would make COVID-19 look like a picnic.
Yep. And that's what the Lord said that's what they want. They want their best shot. And if that's something that they want to do, that's something they're going to try to do, because he said they were going to try to do 10 years worth of things in 1 year. But I just want to tell people, it's not something that we're supposed to be afraid of, because just as the plagues hit Egypt, there was things that were unprecedented and so out of like unconventional, and people were just like unusual. They're like, what in the world is going on? Well, what in the world was going on was there were judgments, because Pharaoh was going to kill God's people. He didn't care what kind of destruction he was doing to their bodies or their minds or anything. All he wanted was that empire to be built. And that's exactly what these people are doing. They want to cause a depopulation around the nations all over the world, because we are taking too much of their resources. We're just like pests in their eyes and in their sights. And so what they're trying to do is to cause a depopulation. How do they going to do that? Something that significant. But God has been saying over and over and over again, I've been preaching this for a long time. He's been giving me John 17, 13 through 17. When Jesus said, they're in this world, but they are not of it. He's been reminding me of the land of Goshen. He's been telling people to start speaking and declaring Psalm 91. And when Jesus was the spotless lamb that was sacrificed for us, his blood was shed for us, that we are completely redeemed and we are completely set free. That's the blood that we hold on to. Back in the land of Goshen, it was a spotless lamb. It was a physical lamb. And they put it on their doorpost so the angel of death had to pass by. We can't see that physical blood right now.
That's right.
But that blood that we have on the inside of us, because God's the greater one's on the inside of us, and because that blood was shed for us, our enemies can see that blood, and they can't come past the door. And so if we start pleading the blood and start really protecting, because I saw somebody, Manuel Johnson actually sent this to me, people were really taking seriously the blood of Jesus. Mm-hmm. Some people were putting red ribbons around their houses and properties and stuff, and he showed me where the fires were, where there was a red ribbon in this area, and it was not touched. I mean, seriously. Yep. And there was a church. Everything was burnt around it, and that church stood still. It was so amazing, the power of God. If people just listen and really trust in what God is doing. He said, you are in it, but you're not of it. He keeps giving us the example of Goshen. We need to take it seriously, because when these things happen, there are things that are going to happen. The swamp rats are connected to the global government, and they are not ready to give up the United States of America yet.
Yeah, and there's something interesting about the lamb's blood, too. The lamb's blood is one of the things that snakes can't get to. And you go back to the 10th of Nisan, that's the day you took a lamb without blemish. That's Christ. That's Jonathan Kahn and I both believe that's the day Jesus was born. It was the 10th of Nisan, because it tells us that in Exodus, not that he was born that day, but Exodus 12, that a lamb without blemish, no broken bones of the lamb. That's a perfect replica of the blood of our King, and the blood is the power over all things. Yep. Amazing.
Yeah.
I just
and so we're not supposed to be... Go ahead.
I said, I just get the chills just hearing that.
Yeah. And, God has been telling us, he's been warning us about a lot of things. He's been warning us about blackouts. He's been warning us about the enemies are like caged animals. They are ready to pounce. They're not going to go down without a fight, but they are going to go down. And so when he's been saying this, and he's been telling all the things that they're going to do, he's been telling us all these plans. But he's never left us without hope that he's going to do something about it. This is something interesting, too, that he is doing something about it. And I think this is a representation of what he's doing. So we have had the craziest, and I know you guys have been a part of this, the craziest, wildest weather, where we're not getting barely any snow in Iowa. Like, we got a little flurries again today. We have not had a significant snowstorm this year. I live in Iowa. Iowa gets a lot of snow. That's just what we're known for. We're the Midwest. But you're getting all of this weather down south, which is absolutely positively amazing. And it's insane to think about. There's prophecies that God talked about, how the weather was going to be so unusual, and snow in unusual places that you would never see snow. And that was a sign and an indication of a cleansing of your nation. Well, God is telling us he's cleansing us, this nation, of our enemies and of this establishment, how he's cleaning house. And as you see right now, like I was on a prayer call with one of my team members, and she's from Texas. She's from San Antonio, which is way far west. And all of a sudden I looked at her and I go, do you have snow at your house? I'm like, I'm in Iowa. I don't have snow here. How do you have snow down there? And now all of a sudden I'm hearing not only that one of our partners, she is in South Carolina. Myrtle Beach got 4 inches of snow. You have Florida that has snow. You have Georgia that has snow. I'm pretty sure Louisiana. And all these southern states, Alabama, have snow. And we don't. I can see the grass at my house, and I'm in Iowa. So to me, I think this is such an amazing thing, how God is telling us that he's doing a cleansing. And he's saying that the snow was going to be a sign of that cleansing. And I had that prophecy back like 2022 or 2023. And we're seeing it right now as we are just hit that precipice of that political shift of bringing President Trump back, and God saying he's going to start cleaning house.
Well, Creed just sent me an information about New Orleans. They had so much snow that they canceled the NBA basketball game. They canceled an NBA basketball game because of too much snow in New Orleans. That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
New Orleans. It's crazy because we haven't even gotten 4 inches at one time yet this year. We've gotten maybe like a couple, maybe here and there. Maybe one time we might have gotten close to 3. But it's so unusual. And God said the unusual, unprecedented. It's unprecedented to talk about several inches of snow in, like, was it Tallahassee, Florida?
Yeah, 5 inches. There was one place that had 8. I don't remember where it was. Somebody I know pretty well. Erin Elizabeth. I don't remember where she lives in Florida, but she said she got 6 or 7 inches in Florida. And here yesterday, we didn't get any snow here where I'm at, but it was 17 degrees here in Mount Pleasant, Texas yesterday. 17 degrees.
Well, that's a heat wave for us because we were below 0. I think we started out the day. Wow. My son, who's a producer, so he comes, 5 something in the morning, and he's like, "Mom, it's negative 14 degrees outside," and that was the temperature. That wasn't even the wind chill. I think the wind chill was like negative 30 or something insane like that. I have to check because I went by the temperature. I didn't go by the actual feel like in the wind chill. But it is insane. And you got to think about all these unprecedented things that God's been talking to us about. He's like, look, this is what I'm doing. And something else also happened. I don't think this was a coincidence at all. The day of the inauguration, now I had a prophetic word, just had a prophetic word about Planned Parenthood. Just did, on the 5th of January. On January 20th, that morning of, I think, or that same day, anyway, the CEO, I think it was a long time, Planned Parenthood president, Cecile Richards, dies of brain cancer the same day as that inauguration.
Yep.
And God said something about, he's been talking with the angel of death. That could have been something that could have been contributed to it. I don't know. I'm not going to say for sure 100%. But God said once his David was reinstated, that the angel of death was going to hit.
Well, you combine that with obviously what Planned Parenthood does. There's nothing planned and there's no parenthood involved. We think it's just the elimination of a child, which it is, but it's far more sinister than that. Selling body parts and pieces and parts of children. And you see why they want to do child trafficking, and you see why they want to kill these babies. It is absolutely sick and evil. And there's a certain organization that has a fake cross and maybe a little red in it. That is going to be exposed big time as well. It is absolutely sinister and evil.
Wow. I didn't know about the Red Cross being connected to them. I guess I'm not really surprised because they are evil. I think they at one point were good, but they've gotten infiltrated, or they just looked like they were and they weren't. But I want to read that prophecy about Planned Parenthood because this is what he said about it. And I believe that because she was the president and a long-lasting president, it said Planned Parenthood will fall, and they will fall quickly. The darkness, the evil, and the corruption of this company, how much destruction they have caused, and the establishment's plans have furthered the devastation across this nation. The doors will be open wide, and everything will be completely exposed to the world. Most people do not truly know why they existed or what they really were doing behind closed doors. Planned Parenthood will be ripped apart because of the blood on their hands and the blood that calls to me for vengeance. Whistleblowers are coming to blow the doors open on this corrupt entity. I told you I was cutting off your enemies, and I will in every way. I will have the final say against these giants who have been murdering people for generations.
It is so heart-wrenching and so evil. And, you know, they take taxpayer dollars. And I think that was announced. It's either going to be in a bill that's coming. One of the congressmen said that they wanted to fund taxpayer dollars to Planned Parenthood, which is a given. We need to do that. Also, Mike Lee brought up something about the Capitol Police that I didn't know in the Constitution exists. You know, Mario Bowser was not allowing these January 6ers out on time, so President Trump sent in the U.S. Marshals to speed that along. And apparently our Congress, it was never meant to have Capitol Police. Our Congress is responsible for Washington, D.C. So they could pull that and have no Capitol Police, no mayor, and just be run by the Congress. And that's the way it needs to be. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And look what happened with Capitol Police and what Nancy Pelosi did. She weaponized it against us on January 6th. Now, I know that the head of that Capitol Police at the time, he was really trying to get something going, and she would not allow it. She intervened and she stopped it. So there's so many sinister things that, again, they use people for their own agenda. Some people don't even know they're being used by them, and other people, obviously, they do. But everything, every entity, every part of our government, I love the fact that he's making people come back to work, but I also love the fact that he's destroying. So he's fired so many people. I love it when he says, we need to watch The Apprentice again. My husband just was talking about that. We need to watch The Apprentice again. I love it when he says, you're fired. Because I can seriously see him do this with like thousands of people in our government. You're fired, fired. Because that's what needs to happen. We need to shrink the government because the government has grown too big, and it's supposed to be we, the people. It's not supposed to be a government that is lording over us. We actually are a republic. We're not a democracy that they always keep saying. We are a republic. And if the government's out of control, we have something to say about it, even though they look like they're, kings and they're dictators over us. So we have to continue to pray that this happens and that he's able to flush out every person that's against us, even the ones who look like they're good when they're not. Because there's a lot of them that look like they're doing the right thing when they aren't. They're trying to sabotage him, and we have to continue to pray for him.
And there's some bad ones that we think were bad that may actually turn good. I was told of one the other day, and I still don't believe it, but I'll keep the matter in mind is what I was told. So if that's the case, you're talking about central casting for sure. Played the part perfectly.
God said he was...
Để ngừa dừng lại truyền tống trong gặp được không gian loạn lưu. Diệp không hỏi, đã có truyền tống trận, cái kia vì sao sử dụng loại này cao thấp đều chậm chạp phương thức đâu này. Xem ra tiểu tử này hay vẫn là kiến thức nửa vời AH. Luyện Nhược Lan cười nói, người đây tự không hiểu, tuy nhiên truyền tống trận sử dụng phi thường thuận tiện, thế nhưng mà kích hoạt truyền tống trận cần một loại phi thường rất thưa thớt tiên ngọc. Thuấn ngọc, loại này ngọc phi thường hiếm thấy, Thương Nam đại lục thuấn ngọc vạn năm trước tự khai thác đã xong. Sao có thể tùy tiện sử dụng đâu rồi, tự ngay cả chúng ta Linh Dược Sơn cũng chỉ có rất ít một điểm. Cho nên truyền tống trận cũng ngừng trên vạn năm, chỉ có tại núi lửa thật sự phun trào lúc mới với tư cách trốn chạy để khỏi chết thủ đoạn sử dụng. Thì ra là thế, Diệp không nhẹ gật đầu, thầm nghĩ, cũng không biết có cái gì không truyền tống trận có thể đem chính mình đưa về địa cầu đâu này. Sâu cái giỏ chậm rãi hạ thấp, Diệp không chú ý tới, thường cách một đoạn thời gian, sẽ rõ ràng cảm giác được ngoài cửa sổ có một đạo màu lam nhạt màn sáng lóe lên. Cái kia màn sáng mỏng như cánh ve, tinh khiết bình trong như gương, chỉ có trải qua lúc mới có cảm giác, nhìn từ xa căn bản nhìn không ra, xem ra cái này là cái kia đại thừa kỳ tu sĩ bố trí một tầng tầng cấm chế. Càng hướng xuống hàng, sâu trong rổ ánh sáng lại càng là ảm đạm, ngoài núi hay vẫn là giữa ban ngày, thế nhưng mà trong này lại giống như chạng vạng tối, chỉ có sâu cái giỏ bên ngoài trên vách tường khảm nạm nguyệt quang thạch, thỉnh thoảng đem quang ảnh chiếu vào đến, có thể trông thấy đứng tại Diệp không sau lưng Luyện Nhược Lan, xinh đẹp phấn bạch khuôn mặt, chậm rãi nổi lên một tầng động lòng người đỏ ửng. Diệp không chính nhìn xem sâu cái giỏ ngoài cửa sổ, chỉ thấy vô cùng hùng vĩ không gian, tầng tầng lam nhạt màn sáng, cảnh tượng này nếu so với Hollywood mảng lớn muốn rung động vô số lần, làm cho người ta xem thế là đủ rồi. Hắn đang tại cảm thán gian, chỉ nghe thấy sau lưng truyền đến một tiếng sâu kín e lệ thanh âm, lập tức đã đến phía dưới, đã có người. Diệp không đầu óc một hồi không hiểu thấu, phía dưới có người, có ý tứ gì? Bất quá lập tức hắn tự minh bạch đã qua, người ta tiểu nha đầu chờ đợi mình thân mật đây này. Trong nội tâm có chút ý nghĩ, Diệp không lập tức đã cảm thấy trong thân thể có một cổ nhiệt lực tại bắt đầu khởi động. Nhìn lại, đối diện bên trên Luyện Nhược Lan cái kia ngập nước, phảng phất che một tầng hơi nước, xinh đẹp mắt to, cùng Diệp không ánh mắt một đôi. Luyện Nhược Lan tranh thủ thời gian bối rối điện trốn tránh lấy hắn lửa nóng ánh mắt. Nàng cúi đầu xuống, trong nội tâm giống như chứa mấy cái nai con, bang bang địa đi loạn lấy, đã có hạnh phúc chờ mong, lại sợ người trong lòng cảm giác mình càn rỡ thô lỗ. Kỳ thật Luyện Nhược Lan thật đúng là không phải càn rỡ thô lỗ. Nàng sợ tiểu tử này lập tức đến có người địa phương muốn cùng chính mình thân mật, cho nên dứt khoát thừa dịp không có người, lại để cho hắn bóp xoa hai cái, tiết lòng của hắn hỏa. Diệp không biết ý nghĩ của nàng, có thể nghe thấy Luyện Nhược Lan lần thứ nhất chủ động, hắn hay vẫn là rất xúc động đấy, đặc biệt là ảm đạm trong ánh sáng, cái kia trương hiện ra hồng nhuận phơn phớt mặt, động lòng người, mê người. Nhược Lan. Diệp không khẽ gọi một tiếng, ôm chặt lấy Luyện Nhược Lan mềm ngọc thể, bàn tay lớn tại thân thể nàng ở trên rời đi, bờ môi cũng không thể chờ đợi được địa mút ở Luyện Nhược Lan cái kia hai mảnh cánh hoa tựa như môi anh đào. Luyện Nhược Lan dính sát tại Diệp không trên người, chỉ cảm thấy trong đại não từng đợt địa mê muội, phi thường cảm giác tuyệt vời. Nam nhân cường hữu lực động tác làm cho nàng nhiệt độ cơ thể đang nhanh chóng lên cao, hô hấp cũng rất nhanh đầm đặc, phong bế không gian càng có thể làm cho người có một loại không đồng dạng như vậy hưng phấn. Nữ nhân cái lúc này đều sẽ có chút chóng mặt núp ních, mà nam nhân lại hết sức thanh tỉnh. Tuy nhiên hai người thân thân ôm một cái đã không phải là lần thứ nhất, có thể Diệp không còn cho tới bây giờ không có van vê qua Luyện Nhược Lan vậy. Đối với cao ngất ngọn núi, tay của hắn trượt chân Luyện Nhược Lan hâm nóng trên bụng, chậm rãi hướng bên trên di động, càng ngày càng cao. Chương 162, linh dược núi lửa. Đợi Luyện Nhược Lan hơi có chút thanh tỉnh, lại phát hiện trước người cao điểm đã thất thủ, cái kia người xấu chính khoái hoạt địa xoa nàng bên phải một chỉ no đầy. Hai người cũng không là lần đầu tiên xoa xoa ôm một cái rồi, đã lại để cho Diệp không đắc thủ rồi. Luyện Nhược Lan cũng không có lại chối từ, tâm đều toàn bộ giao cho hắn, văn về hai cái còn có quan hệ gì đâu này, xấu lắm, người ta không nghĩ qua là đã bị ngươi. Luyện Nhược Lan khuôn mặt đỏ bừng, cùng cái táo đỏ tựa như nói không được nữa. Cái gì a hát, ta nghe không hiểu, bị ta làm sao vậy? Diệp không, tiểu tử này cũng đủ vô sỉ đấy, tay còn xoa người ta nơi tốt, lại còn muốn biết rõ còn cố hỏi, tiểu tặc, không cho ngươi sờ soạng. Luyện Nhược Lan vừa nhấc ngọn liễu, giống như kiều giống như giận, nhìn xem Luyện Nhược Lan cái kia thẹn thùng run rẩy bờ môi, hai mắt nhắm chặt. Diệp không lại một lần hôn rồi xuống dưới, bốn môi đụng vào nhau, ám hương doanh động, hai người đều nhịn không được run thoáng một phát. Không biết đã qua bao nhiêu thời điểm, y nguyên tại hạ hàng sâu trong rổ, vậy mà cảm giác nhiệt độ càng ngày càng nóng rồi. Bắt đầu Diệp không còn tưởng rằng là bởi vì hai người thân mật khiến cho đấy, thế nhưng mà sau đó hắn cảm giác vậy mà càng ngày càng nóng, thậm chí ngoài cửa sổ cũng có thể trông thấy màu đỏ ánh sáng. Diệp không ôm lấy Luyện Nhược Lan đứng ở cửa sổ, từ nhỏ tiểu nhân cửa sổ hướng phía dưới nhìn lại, trận kia mặt to lớn vô cùng, đồ sộ vô cùng, chỉ thấy sâu dưới rổ phương là một mảnh rộng đại liêu rộng rãi biển lửa, trên biển nham thạch nóng chảy cuồn cuộn lắc lư, tựu giống như hải triều, nham thạch nóng chảy xuống, thỉnh thoảng tức giận phao ngâm chui ra, cái kia bọt khí chui ra nham thạch nóng chảy mặt ngoài, xé ba địa một tiếng nổ tung, tung tóe được hồng sáng nham thạch nóng chảy bên trên phảng phất tràn ra một đóa màu đỏ hoa đào. Biển lửa diện tích phi thường cực lớn, Diệp không đoán chừng có hơn vạn bình phương, mà ở biển lửa bốn phía, các kỳ rậm rạp chằng chịt xếp đặt lấy vô số quản hình dáng vật. Cái ống hiện lên phóng xạ hình dáng xếp đặt, mỗi một cây đều thông hướng một cái bịt kín gian phòng. Xem ra, cái kia chính là dẫn địa hỏa luyện đan phòng luyện đan rồi. Để cho nhất Diệp không tắc tắc kêu kỳ lạ chính là, cái kia biển lửa phía trên dưới 100 mễ địa phương, vậy mà lơ lửng mấy cái độc lập gian phòng, không có bất kỳ trèo trống, cũng không có bất kỳ dắt, lại vững vàng treo ở biển lửa bên trên, vẫn không nhúc nhích, phi thường ly kỳ huyền diệu. Đó cũng là dùng để luyện đan gian phòng mà, vì sao không thấy có lấy lửa đường ống đâu này? Diệp không nhịn không được hỏi. Luyện Nhược Lan lắc đầu, đây không phải là dùng để luyện đan đấy, đừng nhìn những cái kia phòng vẫn không nhúc nhích, có thể kỳ thật đi vào về sau là có thể thao túng di động đấy. Diệp không ngạc nhiên nói, di động, người nọ ở đâu bên cạnh đang làm gì đó đâu này? Tổng không phải hấp thụ hỏa thuộc tính linh khí a? Luyện Nhược Lan lắc đầu cười nói, không phải, cái này nham thạch nóng chảy ngàn vạn năm bất diệt, bất quá theo nham thạch nóng chảy phía dưới sẽ không ngừng nổ ra tạp chất, từ lâu rồi sẽ tại biển lửa mặt ngoài hình thành một tầng màu đen làm cứng rắn hỏa vảy. Nếu như không thêm vào thanh lý, hỏa vảy sẽ càng để lâu càng dày, thế cho nên chung quanh đan phòng không cách nào hấp thụ địa hỏa. Diệp không cái này đã minh bạch, gật đầu nói, nguyên lai cái này phòng chỉ dùng để đến thanh lý nham thạch nóng chảy mặt ngoài phế vật đấy. Cái này cùng ta quê quán Đông Hồ bên trên vớt đồ bỏ đi đội thuyền là một cái ý tứ. Luyện Nhược Lan cười nói, người quê quán thật đúng là kỳ quái, trên mặt hồ có thể có cái gì đồ bỏ đi, những này vớt người dội rãnh không có chuyện gì mà. Xác thực, chúng ta cái kia dội rãnh không có chuyện gì người nhiều lắm. Diệp không cười cũng không giải thích, từ phía sau lưng ôm lấy Luyện Nhược Lan, nhìn xem nàng bị hỏa hồng nham thạch nóng chảy chiếu hồng khuôn mặt. Hắn nhịn không được lại dùng bờ môi đi vuốt phẳng, cảm thụ cái kia lửa nóng đôi má cùng vành tay, không đã muốn, lập tức muốn đến nơi. Luyện Nhược Lan không có ý tứ địa giãy giụa, thế nhưng mà Diệp không lại vẫn chưa thỏa mãn, càng thêm nhanh địa ôm lấy nàng, thấp giọng cười nói, Còn chưa đủ, lại để cho ta thân thân. Luyện Nhược Lan phun nói, bị ngươi khinh bạc như vậy hồi lâu, ngươi còn phải như thế nào khinh bạc ta? Mấu chốt còn có một địa phương không có khinh bạc đến. Diệp không nói xong, bàn tay lớn theo Luyện Nhược Lan phần bụng rời xuống động. Không muốn, Luyện Nhược Lan thấp hô ra tiếng, dùng tiểu tay đè chặt Diệp không xấu tay, thân thể của nàng đã ở không tự chủ được giãy giụa. Nhưng này khẽ động, tự va chạm vào phía sau Diệp không mấu chốt, Luyện Nhược Lan phía sau bị tập kích, đương nhiên muốn thò tay đi ngăn trở, thế nhưng mà cố lấy phía sau, tự chú ý không đến phía trước, vừa vặn bị Diệp không thực hiện được, ngón trỏ rốt cục cách mỏng quần câu đã đến Luyện Nhược Lan ép chặt lưỡng chân khe hở gian. Nhưng vào lúc này, đột nhiên sâu cái giỏ thoáng một phát dừng lại, không tốt, đến nơi, mau tránh ra. Luyện Nhược Lan lập tức tỉnh ngộ lại, sâu cái giỏ đã đến ngọn nguồn, nếu không phải tranh thủ thời gian mở cửa đi ra ngoài, cũng sẽ bị lần nữa kéo lên mặt đất. Diệp không biết rõ đến cùng cũng không tiếp tục, lui về phía sau một bước, hít một hơi, cười cười sửa sang lại quần áo, đi về hướng cửa ra vào. Chờ một chút, Luyện Nhược Lan tranh thủ thời gian gọi lại Diệp không, áo nàng tuy nhiên đều đang, thế nhưng mà cái kia vẻ mặt đã hồng không thể gặp người rồi, làm cho người ta trông thấy, đoán cũng đoán được là làm sao vậy. Thừa dịp Luyện Nhược Lan lợi dụng ngắn ngủi thời gian điều chỉnh hô hấp, Diệp không cũng thoáng dẹp loạn thoáng một phát phập phồng tâm tình, ngón tay tại hạ bên cạnh một gầy, tận lực không cho người nhìn ra dị trạng. Bất quá ngay tại hắn đứng tại cửa ra vào thời khắc, lại đột nhiên nghe được sâu cái giỏ cái kia phiến cửa nhỏ bên ngoài, vậy mà có người nói chuyện. Sư tôn, cái này đều thật sự. Một người nam tử thanh âm truyền đến. Làm sao có thể, Nhược Lan làm sao có thể vừa ý một cái luyện khí tầng 4 tiểu tu sĩ? Một cái nữ nhân thanh thúy thanh âm lập tức vang lên. Diệp không nghe xong, ngưng thần, cái này rõ ràng tự là nói hắn và Luyện Nhược Lan a hát. Chỉ nghe nam tử kia thanh âm còn nói thêm, sư tôn, lo trước khỏi họa a hát, Nhược Lan sư muội còn muốn cho cái kia tiểu tu bái nhập Thanh Loan sư thúc môn hạ đây này. Nếu như về sau thật sự phát sinh chút gì đó, cái này đối với chúng ta Linh Dược Sơn mà nói, là kiện cỡ nào mất mặt sự tình a hát. Cái kia bị gọi sư tôn nữ nhân thanh âm, hừ một tiếng, đại khái tại chế nhạo đồ đệ lấy việc công làm việc tư. Đón lấy nàng khẽ nói, Bạch Yến Phong, đừng cho là ta không biết ngươi có chủ ý gì. Bạch Yến Phong cười xấu hổ cười nói, sư tôn, ta đây cũng là vì trên núi thanh danh suy nghĩ a hát. Tuy nhiên, Đồ Nhi đối với Nhược Lan sư muội, có thể cũng không thể nhìn xem nàng cùng một cái luyện khí tiểu tu kết thành đạo lữ a. Nghe thấy bên ngoài đối thoại, Diệp không vốn còn muốn nhiều nghe vài câu, nhưng ai biết Luyện Nhược Lan rất nhanh điều chỉnh tốt hô hấp, tới nói ra, tốt rồi, chúng ta đi ra ngoài đi. Luyện Nhược Lan vừa nói lời nói, bên ngoài lập tức không một tiếng động, mà Diệp không cũng chỉ có kéo ra sâu cái giỏ cửa nhỏ. Chương 163, Hồng Loan lão tổ. Sâu cái giỏ bên ngoài cũng là một cái phi thường rộng lớn đại giàn giáo, bình đài, hãy cùng cái to lớn phi cơ trực thăng bình đồng dạng. Nguyên một